Okay, I'm Jason Henderson. This is speech number 1 for Formula One Austin. Okay, y'all ready? Okay. Okay, Formula One is the highest level of auto racing in the world. They have the most talented drivers from around the world and also the most sophisticated, most highly advanced cars. The tracks are all over the world. They race all over the world, places like Italy, Germany, Belgium, Great Britain, Japan, China, South Korea, India, but not in the United States, not yet anyway. The television global audience for each individual race is over 500 million people, which is twice as much as a Super Bowl. And then in the summer of 2010, Texas billionaire Red McCombs, this guy here on the end, and track promoter Tebow Hellman, the guy on the right, they came up with an idea to have a Formula One race in the United States, in Austin. And they presented some plans to the City Council of Austin as well as the Formula One governing body. The track's going to be located just southeast of Austin near the airport. It's on 890 acres of just like ranch land, which was already purchased by an individual owner. The name of the track will be Circuit of the Americas, and mainly because Austin it's about halfway in between the East and West Coast, and also Austin's about halfway in between Canada and South America. And the track itself will be, it's about 3.4 miles long with a lot of long straightaways. The Formula One cars will be able to reach speeds of up to almost 200 miles per hour. Also there'll be some hairpin turns for like a lot of passing and wrecks and all that good stuff. Oh, cool. Okay, and what makes Austin a really great place for Formula One is, first of all, it's a big city. It's a famous city. It's a unique city. But also, there's so many large cities around it. Like you have the triangle of San Antonio, Dallas-Fort Worth, and Houston. And within a 200-mile radius of Austin, you have over 22 million people. So basically, you have over 20 million people who are within like a 3-hour drive of Austin. So that's pretty good. Okay, so the Red McCombs and Tebow Hellman, they got all their plans together, submitted it, and they got the approval from the City Council and from Governor Perry. And in December of 2010, they started the construction of it. And everything was going fine. You know, they were on schedule. Everything was going well. Supposedly, the estimated cost of the track will be about $300 million. But that'll be coming from private investors, from that billionaire Red McCombs, and then also some other millionaires in the Austin area. But of course, like all sporting events, some of the money does have to come from the city and from taxpayers, and people don't like that. But they said, you know, we'll pay for the track, and the city can pay the licensing fees that go towards the Formula One governing body. But the licensing fee is $20 million, and that's a standard amount. Every track in the world, they have to pay that fee to Formula One for them to host an event. But Austin thought, okay, we have this money set aside, and the money that will come in from, you know, all the tourism and just all that global focus on Austin, that'll be worth it, and they'll be able to make an investment, you know, get a return on that investment. So, okay, we'll do this. So everything's going well, and the Formula One people, they said, okay, the track's fine, we like what y'all are doing, and we will put it on the schedule in 2012. And at the time, they weren't really sure yet when it was going to be. They thought maybe, at first they said the summer. They thought, no, they shouldn't do that because it'd be too hot and the fans would be miserable and the cars would probably overheat or whatever. So they said, okay, we'll do it like either in April or November. And the construction people said, that's cool, we'll have it done by April of 2012, everything's going fine. Well then, in the summer of 2011, I'm sweating. In the summer of 2011, it was time to pay up that $20 million fee to the Formula One body. And the city council, I guess maybe the wording on the contracts was wrong or they didn't read it all, but they thought they could run the race first, and then after everything was paid for and all the profits were made and taxes and hotels and all that good stuff, they would pay the $20 million then. Well, the Formula One CEO, Bernie Ecclestone, said, yeah, that's not how it works. You have to give us the $20 million first so we can actually put you on the calendar and set an actual date so we know that you're for real, that this is really going to happen. So there's a little bit of back and forth, and there was a few politicians in Austin weren't too happy about it, and there's a little bluffing back and forth and grandstanding. Also during that time is when Governor Perry decided to run for president, So then everything was under a microscope. All his spending, you know, so people are saying, hey, in these tough economic times, why are you spending money on a race or whatever? And then the Bernie Ecclestone, the CEO of Formula One, started to make some comments about, well, I don't know what they're doing in Austin. They don't seem to have their stuff together. I don't know if the race is even going to happen in 2012, maybe 2013, maybe not at all. So finally, the city council said, okay, look, we've already started this. We already got money in it. Let's just go ahead and do it. So the city council made a vote, and it passed 5-2 in favor of go ahead and send in the money. So they sent in the money. Then everything was good. Track got going again. Construction got going again around, I guess, November of 2011. So everything was back on track. And but it set them back like 3 months. But then, so once they got their money, they officially put it on the calendar for 2012 for November 18th. And even though they got behind schedule, they still felt like they can make it. And as of right now, the construction people said we will be ready by November 18th of 2012. But, you know, we'll see. Okay, now one of the biggest issues though for Formula One is for the Formula One Austin track, for Circuit of the Americas, for Austin and for the state of Texas is how do you promote Formula One to Americans? Because most people in America don't know anything about Formula One at all. It's popular all over the world, but just not here. And you look at America, we have our big three, like football, baseball, basketball. And if you were to ask an average person about auto racing, they might think of like NASCAR or something, like stock cars and Daytona and Earnhardt Jr. and people like that. And this is totally different. And also to get, now if someone like me who's already a fan, you know, I watch every race, I'll follow it, but to get a new fan is difficult because of the fact that they race all over the world. If there's a race going on in China on a Sunday afternoon, to watch that here in the United States, it'd be like 3 o'clock in the morning. And I'm willing to do that because I'm already a fan, but getting new fans, that makes it really difficult. Also for the sporting channels like ESPN or Fox Sports, you know, they're not going to put much effort into promoting something that's coming on at 3 in the morning. You know, they want those prime time spots because that's where they can get all their money and advertising and all that good stuff. So that kind of hurts it. Let's see. Also, one more. This is a lot of the drivers from last year's roster. These guys are like world famous, just not here. And another thing that kind of hurts what the promoters have to get past is the fact that currently there's not an American driver, and that does hurt getting an American audience. It's kind of like, you know, it's kind of like in the Olympics, people root for their own country. It's just the way it is. Nothing wrong with that. But the fact that there's not an American driver, that does hurt an American audience. Now, the closest we have to that, there is a driver from Mexico. And his name is Sergio Perez. I think it's that guy right there. He's from Mexico, and obviously Texas has a large Hispanic population, so they're hoping for that maybe that can generate a lot of interest. But these guys are like, oops, sorry. Like some of the more popular drivers, you have Jenson Button from Great Britain, you have Mark Webber from Australia, Fernando Alonso from Spain, Lewis Hamilton from Great Britain. And these guys are, like, these are probably the more popular drivers, and they're really good. They're like former world champions. You know, their contracts are crazy, $20-40 million a year. And these guys are actually like global superstars, but just not in the United States. In fact, a lot of times, Formula One drivers in the off season, when they're vacationing and stuff, they'll actually come to the United States. They'll go to like New York or Las Vegas or something because they don't get recognized. Because if they go to some country, some big city in another place, you know, they'll get mobbed by fans and paparazzi. But they can come here and no one cares. And that's really cool when they're on vacation, but it's not so good for the sport. So that's another thing, is how do you know, you're trying to sell this to an audience. So you have like our top tier sports, like I said, football, baseball, basketball. Then you kind of have that second tier of maybe like NASCAR, hockey, soccer. And they have to sell that. And we'll see. The first year, you never know. They have a 10-year contract with Austin. So the race will be there for the next 10 years. Maybe it'll slowly grow each year, and I don't know, we'll see how it goes. But yeah, that's it, I guess. Is that good? Yes, thank you. Okay, yeah, any questions? Yes, you in the front there.
How much will tickets cost for a race like this?
They haven't announced prices yet. They have they started a seat licensing for the really fancy seats. It's like is about $1,000, but that's the standard. That's standard for like other places like Reliant Stadium for the Texans or Minute Maid Park for the Astros. Those seat licenses for the really fancy seats can run up to like $10,000. Regular tickets, like what I will get, what regular people will get, I'm guessing for like the bleachers, grandstands, anywhere from like maybe 80 to 100, and then maybe general admission, maybe 50 to 60. I'm not really sure yet, but that's what I'm guessing. I think the tickets go on sale in April or May.
How much are NASCAR tickets?
Probably about the same. I think like the big sports or the big tracks like Daytona or the big one in Fort Worth, I think for a decent seat, yeah, probably 80 to 90 for a good seat. So I guess it's kind of on par with that. Anything else?
How many Formula One races have been in America?
They actually had some years, like in the 70s, they had a race in Long Beach, California, and it did pretty well. You know, like I said, a lot of times it's just kind of fair weather fans. They don't follow the sport worldwide, but they'll check it out just because it's there. More recently, they had one in Indianapolis. It was like in 2002 or 2003 and 4, I think. And the Indianapolis Motor Speedway is that gigantic oval, and what they would do, Formula One doesn't run ovals, they run all the crazy street courses. So they would do half the oval, then they created more streets in the middle of it. And the first year it did really well. I think they sold like 100,000 tickets. It did great. But the second year they had this major controversy. There was 2 different tire companies in Formula One at the time. Right now they just have one tire company, but at the time they had 2. I think it was like Goodyear and Michelin. Half the field quit, like the drivers didn't even race. So the race continued. At the very last minute, half of them got out of their cars and just stopped, and the other drivers went around. So you've got 100,000 people in the crowd who were not happy. And they did get some refunds on their tickets, but that just totally ruined it. They were going to do one more year, but there was just a lot of bad blood between the Indianapolis people and the Formula One people. And at the time they said they'd never come back to America, so we'll see. Anything else? Yeah?
What does it take to be like a Formula One driver as opposed to a NASCAR driver? What kind of training do you have to do for that?
Formula One is tough. I mean, it's the elite group. A lot of it has to do with money. It's an expensive sport to get into. Normally the kids will start young just doing go-karts and stuff and work their way up. But yeah, you do have to have money. The parents need to have money to kind of just work their way up. A lot of times big companies like Mercedes and Ferrari, they'll find a kid, even like a 13-year-old, and say, this guy's got it. They'll see him doing kart racing, like this guy's got it. And they'll start sponsoring at that point, hoping that by the time he's 18, he'll be in Formula One. But yeah, it's tough.
So basically it's like acting, you have to be discovered at it.
Yeah.
If you're not a fancy rich person.
Yeah. NASCAR is a little easier. This is because it's a cheaper sport, but it's still pretty tough. You do have to have somebody with some money in the family.
How much do the vehicles cost?
Each car can cost maybe about $1 million. It depends. I know the budget. The total season budget for some teams can be anywhere from 60 to 100 million. I think they finally did a salary cap and set it to like 60 million. But these are big corporations. This is like Ferrari, Red Bull, Hewlett Packard, Mercedes. So they got money to spend, and it makes them look good, and it's global. So, anything else? Okay, is that it?
I think so.
Okay.